So I am actually going to be recording this call. As some of you know, I'm going to post these to my YouTube channel, and they'll all be available there. So if you're not able to stay on the whole call, or if you think this will be useful to somebody else, definitely make sure they check that out. But yeah, we're going to kick this off. Today we're talking about California Title 20 and Title 24. This is going to be an introduction and what you guys need to know as sales associates selling to the retail consumer or to your builders. We're specifically going to talk about lamps and fixtures today. There's a whole side of this that's dealing with controls and switches, and there's a lot to Title 24 we're not going to talk about, but we're going to try to keep things simple. I think, you know, in the world of Title 24, there's a lot of information that is nice to know, but what is really important for us as salespeople to be aware of, and that's what we're going to focus on today. Who's ever done this when somebody asks them about light bulbs? So for those of you guys who don't know, or maybe are in a different state, here in California, we have specific laws regarding Title 20 and Title 24 for light bulbs and for fixtures for new construction. And so if you've ever done this, don't worry, I have too. Hopefully this presentation will shed light on some things, make things a little bit more manageable, or at the very least help you find some resources to answer your questions. So what are we going to discuss today? First, we're going to talk about Title 20. We're going to talk about which lamps are covered under Title 20 and why we're hearing so much about it. Next, we're going to talk about Title 24. And then we're going to talk about which regulations affect me. So in addition to that, we're going to talk about what is the difference between Title 20 and Title 24, who polices this kind of stuff, what are the penalties, and then finally, we're just going to get real. A lot of this is the first part of this presentation. I don't want to say it's technical, but it is more technical than the second half. So the second half is really going to be case studies and what do you guys need to know in the store and when you're working with your consumer to make sure that you're helping them appropriately and you're following all the appropriate guidelines. All right, so here we go. So Title 20 explained. Title 20 is an appliance regulation. It is from the CEC, the California Energy Commission. It regulates electrical products of all types. And if you're wondering why you're hearing about Title 20 now, more than ever, then maybe you hadn't heard of it 2 years ago, is because various types of light bulbs came within the Title 20 regulations starting on January 1st, 2018. So if you're just a lighting associate, you probably hadn't heard of this prior to January 1st, 2018, but you certainly have heard of it since then. Similar to Title 24, Title 20's aim is to ensure high efficacy fixtures for California use, and that they're both high efficacy and they're safe and they're quality products. So the aim of Title 20 is to regulate the products that are being sold to consumers in the state of California to ensure that we're moving towards a more energy efficient state. So before I get to the next slide too, I should note too that Title 20 is going to affect any product that's sold or shipped in the state of California. So we'll talk about Title 24 next, but it's important to note that anything sold or shipped in California that falls within Title 20, and we'll talk about that next, is regulated by this new code started on January 1st. So regardless of whether you're new construction or you're being inspected by Title 24 to get a permit, this is simply, it could be a retail sale at a hardware store, it could be at Home Depot, it could be at your lighting showroom. All places of businesses that sell or ship product into California are required to be within Title 20 for these specific lamps that we'll talk about next. So what lamps fall under Title 20? So again, this is going to get somewhat technical here, but the lamps that are within the Title 20 regulations are these lamps here that I'm going to talk about. So there are exemptions, and not every type of light bulb falls within Title 20 and has to adhere to these specific requirements. So most LED lamps are going to fall under Title 20 regulations. E12 bases, E26, E17, GU24, retrofit downlights. In addition to that, we have small diameter directional lamps, or SDDLs, as we call them. Anything less than 2.25 inches in diameter that is directional. Mostly those are going to be MR16s and directional products like these. Now, definitely, a lot of our incandescent bulbs are going to, or incandescent and LED bulbs are going to fall within this first part here. And so these regulations for Title 20, so basically, if you're not meeting these regulations or these requirements here, and the product falls within Title 20, the lamp cannot be sold or shipped into the state of California. So generally, it's 80 lumens per watt. Depending on the base type, there are different minimum rated lives. So 10,000 hours for LED lamps, 25,000 hours for small directional lamps, but again, 80 lumens per watt. And generally, they're required to be over 82 CRI. It depends on the lamp type and the base type, but generally over 82 CRI, which is different than Title 24, which requires 90. So Title 20, you don't necessarily have to be at 90 CRI. So again, if the lamp does not meet those requirements and it's within Title 20 regulations, it can't be shipped into the state of California. So if you tell a customer they can't buy a certain lamp that they're trying to get or they bring to you, it is because the CEC is not allowing us to. So I definitely understand the concern and the frustration when we have lamps that we can't ship, but this is a new Title 20 regulation. And so not only can you not sell it, but they shouldn't be able to buy or purchase it anywhere. And there may be loopholes to that. That's a battle you have to decide if you're willing to fight. But whether it's a home store or it's an e-commerce customer or they want to go on Amazon and try to buy it, the truth is that they should not be able to purchase that in California based on their shipping address and based on the California regulations. So again, there are quite a few lamps that are exempt from Title 20. So trying to understand every little portion of Title 20 would be a 12-hour class, I'm sure. And I certainly don't understand all of it myself. But I do want to help you give some idea of the reason you can purchase some lamps and not others. Lamps that are less than 150 lumens with an E12 or E17 base are excluded. So if we have really low lumen output bulbs, those are generally excluded from Title 20 and we can ship them. Same with E26 or GU24 if they're less than 200 lumens. Colored LED lamps. So this is a really kind of funny one here. So this is an LED vintage or amber style LED lamp. We have these from Satco. And the interesting part is this lamp here from Satco is a 2000K bulb, which you can purchase in California in LED, but you can't purchase the 2700K version. The reason for that is it's considered a colored LED lamp and it's exempt from Title 20. So again, trying to understand the reasoning for a lot of this stuff is beyond this this presentation, but I do want to kind of alert you guys to that there are exemptions from Title 20, and that's the reason you're able to get certain bulbs but not others. All right, we're going to come back to Title 20 and explain some of the differences between that and Title 24, but let's talk about what Title 24 is. So if Title 20 is limiting the light bulbs that are able to ship or sell in California, Title 24 is specifically for building regulations applying to all buildings in California. So basically, Title 24 is regulating or is placing regulations on what is considered energy efficient in order to pass code in California. So starting, so we've had Title 24 for many years, but it changes. I think it's every 3 years, I believe it changes. Starting back in 2017, the Title 24 scope and what was considered Title 24 changed quite a bit. And so fixtures installed in a residential construction starting in January 21st, 2017 are required to be high efficacy. So what does that actually mean? So if it's a lamp or a light bulb, in order to qualify as Title 24, that light bulb must meet JA8 requirements to be considered Title 24. We'll talk about JA8 on the next slide and what those requirements are. If it's a fixture, so if it's a fixture with a screw-in socket, like we have here with these little Minka Lavery pendants, it will be considered Title 24 if it's lamped or included with a Title 24 bulb upon inspection. If it's a dedicated LED fixture, so let's say if it's an LED bath bar that has an integrated LED source, it is technically supposed to be registered with the state as Title 24 compliant. And again, there are switch and control requirements that need to be met. But the good news for you guys is those are generally falling on the electrician or contractor to make sure that they're adhering to Title 24 code. And again, so the first bullet point here, so for lamps to qualify as Title 24, just a general piece of knowledge here for you guys if you're interested, not necessary, but what are the requirements to meet JA8? Initial efficacy has to be greater than 45 lumens per watt. So basically that means any incandescent product is not going to work because it's not going to be 45 lumens per watt. Power factor of greater than 90. It has to have a CRI of greater than 90, an R9 value of greater than 50, a rated life greater than 15,000. Dimming level has to be dimmable, has to pass the flicker test. In California, in order to certify something as JA8, it has to go through a 6,000 hour, I think it's is it 6,000 hour? I believe it's 60, I can't remember if it's 60 or 60,000 in order to get a JA8 stamp on that bulb. All right, this is a very rudimentary flow chart I've created for you guys. So when we're talking about Title 24, is a permit being pulled? So the only time we have to really worry about Title 24 is if the customer or the homeowner or the builder is pulling a permit. That is going to be for new construction and for some remodels. So not all remodels are going to require a permit as far as I know, but all new construction certainly will. So when you pull a permit, you're going to be inspected once the project is complete. And if you're not passing Title 24 from a lighting perspective, they can either delay that permit or they can deny it. So if you're pulling a permit, we're going to go down here. If you're not pulling a permit, you don't have to worry about Title 24. If you are we working with interior or exterior fixtures? So for interior fixtures, they all must be high efficacy. Okay, so what does high efficacy mean? So if the fixture has an integrated LED source, the fixture itself is supposed to be registered with the CEC. So let's say you're doing a bath bar, it's an integrated LED bath bar. That fixture is technically supposed to be registered with the CEC database. It will have a little, the spec sheet might have a Title 24 logo on there, and then there's a database where you can actually go search product numbers to see if it will qualify as CEC certified. Now, truthfully, from what I've seen in the marketplace, is if a fixture is integrated LED and it's 90 CRI or greater, most inspectors are just passing it. They're not necessarily looking for the spec sheet to prove it's Title 24. That's kind of up to you guys, but that's kind of what I've seen from a rep standpoint. I really haven't seen building code inspectors not pass something if it was integrated LED, but it wasn't registered. So just to make you guys aware of What if that fixture for an interior fixture has screw-in sockets? So instead of an integrated source, it's got screw-in base. So that's fine, but it must be lamped with a JA8 certified bulb at the time of inspection. So whether it's a chandelier or a bathlight or a sconce, as long as that fixture has a JA8 bulb at the time of inspection, it is Title 24 certified. Now, I have questions too. Sometimes you're going to get a contractor come back at you and say, hey, it has to be a fluorescent or it has to be a, a bipin socket in there, like the GU24 socket. That is not the case anymore. Truthfully, I've found that some inspectors aren't as up to date with the new Title 24 laws. And so if they tell you that it has to be a GU24 socket in there, that's not true. The only case that would be true is if that permit was pulled back in 2016, which in this case is probably no more since we're in 2020. Okay, so that's for interior. If we're talking about exterior product here, number one, that fixture for exterior product is supposed to be wired to a photocell and motion sensor or astronomical time clock. The great news is the majority of lighting projects, the electrical contractor or general contractor is taking care of this portion of it. And so really you just want to be concerned with what's down here. So for exterior product, use a fixture with an integrated LED light source. So if it's a dedicated LED outdoor fixture, we can use that. If it's a fixture with a GU24 socket, we can also use that, and the fixture has to include that bulb. Or if it's a fixture with a screw-in base, it can be lamped with a JA8 light bulb. So similar to our interior fixtures there. All right, do these regulations affect me? So let's talk about Title 20 first. So Title 20 affects nearly all light bulb sales and shipments in California. So yes, Title 20 will affect you. The really great part is the manufacturers such as Satco, Emery Allen, Minka, Hudson Valley, they are pretty up to date on this. And so if they're shipping you something, it is Title 24 qualified, or it's going to pass Title 20. I can't say that as a blanket statement, but the good news is that the onus of this is generally falling on the manufacturer. But that doesn't mean that selling a non-Title 20 bulb doesn't happen, or you're not responsible for that. Manufacturers are generally covering this for you. So if they're shipping you something, you can feel good knowing that, hey, it is Title 20 qualified and I can sell it to my customer. Again, not all lamps fall under Title 20 guidelines. So if you're making a light bulb sale, not all shapes and not all base types are going to be included or regulated by Title 20. So we talked about some of those exemptions like light output, color temperatures, that kind of thing. Title 24. If your client has pulled a permit, either for a remodel or new construction, then the answer is yes, it's affecting you. If they're not pulling a permit, then no. If it's just a do-it-yourself customer, they just want to replace a light or a fan in their house and they're going to do it themselves, not pulling a permit, then no, you don't have to worry about it. So who polices these and what are the repercussions? Title 20 is enforced by the CEC. They police products sold in California and products from retailers outside of California who sell into the state. Penalties may be substantial and are levied upon the manufacturer or the retailer or distributor. From what I know about this, the CEC is generally looking at large corporations such as box stores and really ensuring that those products are CEC compliant or Title 20 compliant. That is a general rule of thumb, but for the most part, they're not looking at brick and mortar retail lighting showrooms, but you still need to be concerned with it and make sure you're aware of it. Title 24 is enforced by the building or electrical inspector at the time of inspection. So Title 24 is going to be policed by the inspector. So again, if you've pulled a permit in order to pass, to get through the final process, you're going to get inspected. If your lighting doesn't meet Title 24 requirements, they can either deny that or just postpone or defer that approval process. Where can I find more information? So we have some helpful, both Envision Lights and a couple other resources. We have some really good kind of things to break down Title 20 and Title 24. If you guys were to read through that language on the actual law itself, it's pretty dense. It'll put you to sleep. So we have some pretty helpful sheets that we can pass along, and I'll provide my info at the end. You can also visit energy.ca.gov and certainly just Google search things, and there's a lot of discussions going on around that. Is Energy Star rating the same as Title 24? In short, no. Energy Star is a national code. It's usually used for rebates and things like that. Title 24 is specific to California. Generally, Title 24 is a little bit more strict than Energy Star, but Energy Star is always updating and changing as well. All right, so we went through a bunch of technical jargon. For those of you who fell asleep, time to wake up. Now it's time to get real. We're going to talk about real life applications of how does this affect you guys? Where can you find some of this information from our vendors? And how can you use it when you're selling products? All right, so let's just talk about light bulbs for a second here. So if you're making a light bulb sale, how will we know if something is Title 20? If you are, let's see here, whoops. If you are using our Satco website or Emory Allen, you should be able to see on the specification sheet or the product description a little box here called CEC status. Satco just updated their website. It's a great new website. You can search both Nuvo and Satco product. And on the Satco website, this is actually a copy of the specification sheet for certain light bulbs here. CEC status will tell you if it's lawful for sale in California. This one here, the S8484, it is lawful for sale. So we can purchase that and sell that in California. But if we go to S8615, CEC status says non-compliant. The really nice thing about the Satco website is it's going to give you a recommended replacement or a similar bulb that is compliant for California. So in this case, it's the S8550. So if you wanted to sell this bulb, we would not be able to ship it to California, but we would have this recommended replacement here, which you would have to compare the specifications on it to see the color temperature and lumen output, but that would be the closest match for that bulb. And how will I know if it's Title 24? So again, if you're using the Satco website, so if the bulb is just Title 20 and it's not Title 24, it's just going to say lawful for sale. If that bulb is Title 20 and Title 24 approved, it's going to say California Title 24 qualified. So this leads to the question, are all Title 24 lamps Title 20? The general answer, as far as I can tell you from Satco's standpoint, if a lamp is Title 24 qualified, it is also Title 20. The reverse is not necessarily true. Just because a lamp is Title 20 certified or shippable in California does not mean it is also Title 24 qualified. So in this particular case here, you could use this for a retail sale, but if a customer was doing new construction, putting this in, it's not a Title 24 lamp, so it probably wouldn't pass code, or it shouldn't pass code based on the regulations. In this situation, it's Title 24 qualified, so it's shippable in California, and it would also pass code. So when available, I would always encourage you to use the Title 24 lamps or purchase those or stock those, because those are going to be the most conservative from a regulation standpoint, because you're not going to have to worry about, hey, is it going to pass code? Because if you buy the Title 24 ones, they're going to pass code and be shippable. Another way to tell if a lamp is Title 24 is it should be printed on the box. So this is an Emery Allen lamp here. This bulb says JA8 2016. And technically the inspector is supposed to look for that little stamp on the bulb there upon inspection. But here it's nice and clearly labeled on the box there, and the Satco lamps will be as well. For fixtures, George Kovacs has a variety of different fixtures that are registered with the state that are integrated LED fixtures, and we can send you that list as well. If you're using the catalog, here's a good way to tell. So again, encourage you guys, I'm going to send out, well, I'm going to provide my email at the end. And for some of you, I'll be sending out a PDF with this information, but there is a Title 20 and Title 24 guide for Satco specifically, and for George Kovacs for fixtures, which has all of those fixtures in one place for you, so you don't need to worry about it. This is a snapshot of the catalog, or the PDF or the hard copy catalog. And that catalog includes everything that's shippable in California in one spot. So that's what you want to look at. If it's got a black box here, it means it's also Title 24 certified. So this 29877 here, that bulb right there, chandelier bulb, that is Title 20 shippable in California, and it's also going to pass code if you need that, or pass building new construction code. All right, so let's talk about some case studies. So we're going to do a couple here that hopefully are useful to you. So you're working with a customer. You have a customer, they want to replace an interior chandelier with candelabra bulbs. They're specifying or want to purchase this Minka Lavery chandelier. This includes, or I should say, calls for E12 or candelabra bulbs. Now this is a new home construction. So they're doing a remodel. They're building a new home, and this is the fixture they want to use in there. So in order to pass code, they are a new construction, so they're going to be they've pulled a permit and they have to pass inspection. So in order to pass inspection, they're going to purchase this fixture, install it, and then when they're being inspected, this lamp or a Title 24 lamp must be supplied and in the fixture at the time of inspection. So if they meet all those certifications or all those things we just talked about, inspector is going to say, yep, good to go. If this was just a DIY customer, let's say they were not new home construction, just replacing a chandelier in their bedroom, they wouldn't have to specifically use this bulb. They could use another one. Case 2, kitchen and bath remodel. So we have a customer that is pulling a permit. They've ripped out all the drywall, they've ripped out cabinets, and they're doing a complete bath and kitchen remodel. And they want all integrated LED fixtures. So they don't want to deal with light bulbs, they just want integrated LED, whether it's a design choice or practical choice, whatever it may be. No problem. So choose from integrated LED fixtures that are Title 24 certified. These actually, both of these are registered with the state of California as being Title 24. In this case, we have the George Kovacs Sabre bath bar, and in the kitchen we have a Blink flush mount from Satco. I have the list of George Kovacs certified fixtures that are Title 24. This is the Satco, or a snapshot from the Satco catalog, and it actually has that Title 24 logo on there. So you can feel comfortable knowing it's integrated LED, it's Title 24, and so that fixture is good to go. So again, this is kind of a gray area. Like I said, a lot of inspectors, from what I can tell and from my experience, is if they see it's an integrated LED fixture, they're pretty much just passing it. That is not necessarily the law to a T, but from what I've seen in the field and what I've heard, most people are somewhat lax in that regard. If it's integrated LED, they're kind of just passing it. All right, case study 3, a retail DIY customer. So a customer comes in, they're not pulling a permit. They just decided on a Saturday, hey, I want to replace that ugly fixture I have in my entry, and I want to replace it with this George Kovacs Ponteal chandelier. So this fixture includes G9 xenon lamps. So since it's a DIY customer, they are not being inspected. You're not selling them light bulbs to go with this necessarily. So they could use the included G9 lamps. Minka is shipping that product with those lamps because they deem that that lamp is actually excluded from Title 20, so they can ship it. Now, if they wanted to purchase LED lamps to go with that, this is going to come with xenon lamps, but if they wanted LEDs, they could just purchase those as well. And those bulbs, the LED ones, are not regulated by Title 20, so they could buy the LEDs. And since they're not being inspected, they don't have to be Title 24 certified. All right, here's kind of a tricky one. So we're working in an exterior environment here. So we've got some fixtures that we want to redo. This is a new home construction. The fixtures that they're working with here, these are George Kovacs, the Outline series from George Kovacs. It's an integrated LED source, has an 85 CRI, so it's not 90 CRI. So kind of a trick question. Exterior outdoor lights with integrated LEDs do not need to be registered with the CEC for Title 24. So this fixture is not registered with the state, but that's fine. For exterior fixtures, that does not need to be registered with the state of California. For interior fixtures, it is supposed to be. So kind of a trick question there. So that's the end of the case studies. I'm going to open it up for questions. I'm imagining there's probably some questions on this stuff. I'm going to leave this up here, so if you want to shoot me an email for any of this information, please do. Our website is right here. Satco, Emory Allen, Minka Group, Hudson Valley. I can email you that as well. But please email us if you have questions on this stuff, and we can email back some of our products that qualify for this stuff. And then again, I'm going to post this on YouTube so you can watch it at your leisure if you need to rewatch it again. And I'm going to open it up for questions. If I can figure out how to unmute everybody.